What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to update what I said in yesterday's video talking about what if we're wrong about stacking and prepping, but flip the script today and talk about what if we are right about stacking and prepping. But really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there, go check it out. The link will be in the description. And if you want to help support the channel by getting some DYDSS merchandise, of course we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. But today I want to pretty much do the opposite of what I did in yesterday's video. For those of you who haven't seen it, I recommend you go check out yesterday's video. And throughout the entire video, I talked about what would happen if we end up being incorrect about stacking silver and gold for the long term as a hedge against inflation and wealth preservation, and what if we're wrong about prepping for whatever it is that we're prepping for. And the focal point of yesterday's video was to just play devil's advocate. I'm a big believer in learning about and understanding both sides of the spectrum and thinking objectively and coming to conclusions using logic rather than using emotion. And yesterday's video was very well received, but today I want to talk about what if we're right? What if we are correct about everything that we know and believe when it comes to silver, when it comes to gold, when it comes to prepping? I do not have the ability to show off any real prepping equipment in frame right now, but I have this very small first aid kit that came with a much larger first aid kit. So talking a little bit about stacking, a little bit about prepping today. So first and foremost, let's talk about stacking silver, because a lot of us are stacking for different reasons, but it really all comes down to, for the most part, saving money for the long term. Holding on to as much money as you possibly can, saving it for whatever it is that you want to save for. Maybe you're stacking specifically as a form of financial prepping. Maybe you think something terrible is going to happen to the dollar bill, because let's be honest, the dollar bill is pretty old and sickly. It is, in my opinion, standing on its last leg, and it's not really looking all that good for the dollar bill, especially with everything going on in the world right now. I believe, in my opinion and from my perspective, that probably in the next 1 to 3 years, we're going to really start to notice that the dollar bill has been taking some punishment because of what's going on right now. I don't think it's going to be too far in the future where we actually see the damage. But moving forward away from that, if you think that the dollar bill is going to collapse, if you think we're going to have a complete and total crumbling of our system, a lot of people are stacking silver and gold for that right there. Silver and gold, what do we know about silver and gold that's different from the dollar bill? This right here, this is relatively new. It hasn't really been around for all that long, historically speaking at least. The dollar bill, it was created to be essentially an IOU. It's a paper, fiat, glorified IOU dollar bill piece of currency. That's what it is. It's currency. It's not money. It's currency. But it's also a very useful tool for the short term, as I explained in yesterday's video. But here's the thing. Here's the issue. The dollar bill has no intrinsic value other than the fact that it's a piece of paper and you can write on it. That's about all it's good for. That's really all paper is used for, and that's really paper's purpose. Take some notes, write something on it, draw a picture. But here's the thing, they already did that. There's already pictures, there's already writing all over it. Therefore, I can't draw on it, I can't write on it, and we got a 5, a 20, and a 50. If you close your eyes and shuffle these up, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Put these behind your back, you can't tell the difference between the 5 and the 50. But how come one is worth 10 times more than the other? It's only because of the number they decided to print on it. That's the only difference. If it's worth 10 times more, why is it not 10 times heavier, 10 times bigger, 10 times more important? It makes no sense. It's fiat currency, glorified IOU dollars. Silver and gold, on the other hand, you can't really get away with saying silver and gold is relatively new, because it's not. Silver and gold, it's been around for thousands and thousands of years. Silver and gold have been viewed as money, real, true, honest, genuine money for thousands and thousands of years. It's an internationally recognized form of payment. It's a constitutionally recognized form of payment. It's a biblically recognized form of payment. It's real, true money. And if you want to hang on to it for the long term, whether it be because of, essentially, in the event of financial disasters, it could come in handy for that right there. That's not necessarily the reason that I'm stacking. I'm stacking just to save money for the long term. I'm not really using it necessarily as financial prepping, but I do think it makes sense. And if something were to actually go wrong from an economic standpoint, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, I always say. But there's a lot of other people out there who are stacking silver because they believe that the spot price is going to increase by quite a bit. Right now, it's just about $18, $19 an ounce for a troy ounce of silver. A lot of people believe it's going to go to $30, $35, $40, $45, $50 an ounce. Are they crazy for thinking that it's possible? No. You want to know why? Because it's already happened. History has proven that it's already possible. History doesn't necessarily need to repeat itself, but it can. History can repeat itself, and very often it does. Does that mean that it's guaranteed to go back up to $30 to $50 an ounce or beyond? No, it's not guaranteed. It's not promised. It's not a sure thing. But a lot of us think that it will. A lot of us know that it can. What if we're right? What if we're stockpiling a bunch of silver at $13, $14, $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, $20, $21, $22 an ounce, and we have a couple hundred ounces, maybe a couple thousand ounces, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40,000 ounces of silver, and we get it for a dirt cheap dollar amount, and we hang on to it, and a couple years down the road, who knows, maybe even a couple decades down the road, it triples. What then? What happens if all of our $20 silver goes to $60 silver? Now, by this, I am in no way, shape, or form saying that I'm stacking due to having the fear of missing out. I do not believe in being controlled by the fear of missing out. I would rather miss out than be controlled by the fear of missing out. I'm not stacking out of fear. Fear is an emotion, not logic. And if you're doing anything out of emotion, I believe that's a bad thing. If you're stacking out of fear, or if you are stacking due to hype and excitement, I don't think that's a good thing. As I said at the beginning of the video, I think it's more important to make logical decisions and think objectively, do research, figure things out on your own, and come to your own conclusion and figure out whether or not it makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, then don't stack silver. I would never, ever push someone to start stacking silver. Want to know why? Because that's your currency, your money that you're working with, not mine. If you don't want to stack silver, if you hate silver with a burning passion, doesn't faze me, doesn't bother me, doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. I'm stacking for myself, not for you. And if you choose not to stack, you choose not to stack for you, not for me. Everyone has a different opinion, but at the end of the day, opinions don't really matter when the facts are on the table. And what's on the table right now? As I always say, real, true, honest, genuine money. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Silver's not for everyone. But if it is for you, If you watch a bunch of videos, if you read a bunch of articles, you do your own research and you decide that silver is something that you want to get involved in, and you make the decision based on logic, not based on emotion, in my opinion and from my perspective, there's really no losing. Because as stated in yesterday's video, what if I'm wrong? Then I'm just someone with a bunch of coins. No harm done to anybody. No one got hurt. Nothing bad happened because I'm stacking. So who cares? But what if we're right? What if I'm right? What if silver does, in fact, go up and up and up and up? We already see that it's had a slow but steady upward trajectory over the years. It's always had that upward trajectory. It's always slowly but surely creeped its way up. Which is why I consider silver to be the opportunity metal. That's just my opinion. But the reason I say that is because I think there's a lot of opportunity in silver. I think right now it's dirt cheap. In my opinion, I think silver is a fantastic fiat dollar amount right now. I don't like measuring silver or gold in dollars. I like measuring it in ounces. But sometimes you have to go by the dollar amount. You got to start somewhere. And what if we end up being right? Then we reap the benefits. Now let's move on to prepping. Because there's a lot of people prepping for a lot of different reasons as well. Me personally, I'm prepping for financial hardships and potentially natural disasters. Whether it be hurricane storm damage or winter snowstorm damage, or I don't know, maybe even like a flood or a house fire, stuff like that. I am in no way, shape, or form prepping for the end of the world. I am not in any way, shape, or form one of those doomsday kind of guys. It's a TV program. It's called a program for a reason. Programming. And it's all for entertainment purposes. It's embellished. It's exaggerated. It's strategically designed and marketed to be entertaining. That's not reality. That's not how the average person who's prepping acts, behaves, or thinks. At least I would hope not, because that's not healthy. But there's a lot of people who think that these terrible, horrible things are going to happen. Whether it be, I don't know, nuclear warfare, or whether it be an attack on the power grid, or whether it be something else. Something much more extreme than just a hurricane or a tornado or something. SHTF, if you will. A lot of people believe in that. And what if they're prepping and prepping and prepping? What if I am prepping and prepping and prepping and something does go wrong? What if something occurs and all of a sudden I am in desperate need for some type of medical equipment or first aid supplies? What if something goes wrong with the water? Look at Flint, Michigan. You cannot tell me that it can't happen in America.
Oh, no, this is America. That won't happen. Never, never, not at all, ever. It's not, never in a million years.
It's already happening. It's been happening for years. Flint, Michigan. Will that happen to my city or your city? There's a good chance it will not happen. But what if it does? What if that does happen? And what happens if there's a shortage? Everybody's like bum rushing the store, buying up all the water bottles, the gallon jugs of water, all that stuff. And what if you don't have access to clean drinking water? What if the guys like me who have a water purification system, a portable water purification system that doesn't need to be plugged in, doesn't need to be charged, doesn't need to be anything, it just sits on the counter and it filters the water through from the top to the bottom, purifies it, removes the lead, the rust, the fluoride, the chlorine, the viruses, the bacteria, the E. coli, the traces of pharmaceutical drugs, to the point where I can now drink the water. What if I end up being right, and I end up being okay, and I end up being the guy who has access to clean, purified water no matter what? And what if the person who said, it's never going to happen. Who cares? Don't worry about it. Too much to think about. What if they end up being wrong? And now they don't have access to clean, purified drinking water. What about the guy who relies on his paycheck, as we all do, to be honest, but what if the guy who relies on his paycheck entirely by putting all of his eggs in one basket and thinks that nothing's ever going to happen to his job?
Oh, I got job security. Nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm in a union. Nothing can go wrong for me. Nothing's gonna go wrong, ever. Never in a million years. I'm gonna go the rest of my life always having steady income. Nothing's gonna touch my paycheck. I'm always gonna be perfectly set.
What if he ends up being wrong? And he's like,
Oh, no, I don't want to dedicate, an entire pantry of my house or part of a room of my house to food preps. It takes up too much room. Never gonna use it anyway. Nothing bad's gonna happen.
what if he ends up being wrong? And those of us who are stacking the food end up being right. What happens then? You know what that means? We eat and that guy doesn't. Now again, I don't want to encourage people to make emotional decisions. I'm not making this video to rile up anyone or get anyone bent out of shape or nervous.
Oh my god, I gotta start prepping. My paycheck's gonna be taken away. I'm not gonna have food. I'm not gonna be able to feed my kids.
I'm not trying to scare anyone into doing anything. I'm just being devil's advocate for those guys. The guys who don't believe in the things that we do. I hope they can watch this video and begin to maybe think objectively. And if they think objectively, if they watch the videos, read the articles, and do the research, and still come to the conclusion that prepping isn't for them, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying we're right. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I know all the secrets. I know how to, survive anything. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that if something were to go wrong, whether it be from an economic standpoint or whether it be a natural disaster standpoint or something else, those of us who are stacking and prepping would be better off. Are we going to be invincible? Are we going to be prepared for everything in the world under the sun that could be imagined? No. But if something were to go wrong, I'm willing to bet those of us who are stacking the food, stacking up on the water, have a method to purify water if need be, have the first aid kits, the medical supplies, the silver, the gold. If something were to go wrong, I'm willing to bet those of us who are stacking and prepping the way that we are going to last a whole lot longer than that guy over there who thinks everything's going to be perfect forever. That guy who thinks everything's going to be perfect forever, he could be right. Maybe everything is going to be perfect forever. Maybe we're going to live in a fantasy world and everything's going to be great no matter what, always. As I stated in yesterday's video, if he ends up being right, we cause no harm to anyone, nothing bad happened because of the things that we do, and we'll have a bunch of silver and gold, even if the spot price doesn't skyrocket or doesn't even climb up past 25 bucks. We'll still have the silver and the gold. It's always going to be worth something. We're still going to have the food, the water, the preps, the everything that we stocked up on, the tools, the equipment, everything, which we can either use, sell, pass down to kids, grandkids, family members, neighbors, friends, whoever. We could do whatever we want with our preps and our stacks. But if we end up being right, we're going to be a whole lot better off than the average Joe who has no money at all whatsoever, bare minimum amount of currency, no food stocked up, has enough food to last him about 3 or 4 days because he just went grocery shopping on Saturday and he's already running out of food, no way to purify water, no tools or equipment to protect himself, his family, and his house, no medical supplies if somebody gets hurt, somebody gets sick, nothing. Like I said, we're not going to be invincible. We don't know all the secrets, but as I always say, it's better to have something and not need it than to need something and not have it. And also, as I always say, don't be scared, be prepared. Don't prep because you are paranoid or because of all these terrible, horrible things that could possibly go wrong. Don't make decisions based on emotion. Make decisions based on logic. Figure out what makes the most sense for you. Because guess what? The way I'm prepping is more than likely very different than the way you're prepping. Location matters a lot. If you live in, I don't know, Florida, might be a pretty solid idea to prep for hurricanes. Why is that? Because Florida has hurricanes all the time. If you live somewhere that has tornadoes relatively often, that's probably something that you might want to prep for. That's not necessarily something that I got to prep for. We don't got tornadoes going through New Jersey every day. If you live in Texas, you might not have to worry about winter blizzards. If you live somewhere that has earthquakes, California maybe, or those crazy fires that California had a couple months back, stuff like that, you got to figure out what makes the most sense for you. Do you live in a location that's prone to flooding? You got to figure out the most likely circumstance that could occur and figure out a way to combat it to the best of your ability. Will you solve the problem 100%? Odds are probably no. But if you can solve the problem by 50% or even 10%, you're a whole lot better off than the guy who can't even solve it 1%. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button. If you guys like me, make sure to subscribe. New videos every single day, 365 days a year. Also subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Brand new video over there. Go check it out. The link will be in the description. Just hit 1,000 subscribers. I really appreciate that. Now we're going for 2,000. If you guys want to help support the channel in the biggest possible way, please consider getting yourself some DYDSS merchandise. Of course, we have some precious metal themed t-shirts and hoodies, which are up for grabs, along with a ton of other products, t-shirts, hoodies, even stickers, many of which are raising funds and awareness for different charity organizations. And of course, the brand new Major Cheeseball t-shirt, hoodie, sticker, and coffee mug, because evidently if you stack silver coins or you carry a silver coin with you in your pocket, apparently that makes us major cheeseballs for some reason. I embrace it and I hope you do too. Any and all merchandise can be found by clicking the first link in the description section down below. Thank you in advance, it's more than appreciated. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know, do you feel safe and secure, or at least more safe and secure than you would if you didn't have any silver and or gold stacked up, if you didn't have any preps, if you didn't have, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks or a couple months, maybe longer, worth of food stashed away, maybe you have a decent amount of water supply, maybe you have a water purification system, maybe you have first aid kits and medical supplies and things you might need if you or someone were to get hurt or to get sick. Do you feel as though being prepared is better than being unprepared? Because that's what I believe. I always thought that was common knowledge. Evidently not. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.